Hi, welcome to a two-shot of Nahual, a game by, he struggles to look up the name in the book that he had open, but turned to the wrong page. A game by, not Edgar Clement, come on PDF, get back up to the top quickly. This is going smoothly, by Miguel Angel Espinosa, who featured on a very good episode of a really good podcast, got +1 forward about this very game. It's a shame about the host of that show, but we'll move along. And yeah, this is going to be a two-shot. We're playing via the Gauntlet calendar. We're using all the safety tools like lines, veils, X card, etc. Everybody that that's playing here I've played with before. We've had off-camera discussions about all of it, but we all really value our safety tools, and I think it's good that everyone does too. So we're going to be doing a two-shot of this game of Mexican urban fantasy, which is all about, three basic concepts. You are poor, you are Mexican, and you hunt angels. And that third part is probably the most interesting part of it, because you don't only hunt them, you butcher them. You take angel flesh and you turn it into this strange, mystical kind of manifestation of otherworldly power called the angel flesh trade. And yeah, the other caveat is that all of your characters are nahuales, which is a type of shape-shifting shamanic totemistic power where you can embody the spirit of an animal that you attune to. And I'm going to confess to being absolutely terrible at Spanish, so I apologize to all Spanish-speaking viewers, listeners, writers, people, just, generally the entire Spanish-speaking population of the Earth. I'm deeply sorry for both this and lots of other things, but here we are. So with all that in mind, our players are going to introduce themselves and their characters, and then we're going to go back around and we're going to go over the answers to their barrio questions, like their local associations, and then we're going to go back around and do their relationships to each other, as each one of our nahuales are members of a pack to an extent, right? Pack and a business. So you don't need to be friends, but you do need to be co-workers to a certain extent, to borrow a phrase from one of my favorite games, Red Markets. But anyways, with that in mind, let us go from left to right in the character keeper. Jason, if you'd like to take it away.
Sure. I am Jason. I use he, him pronouns. I am playing Salvador, uses he, him pronouns. He is the Jaguar playbook. He's played by Danny Trejo. He's covered in wrinkles and pockmarks and scars. I imagine him, in the past working as an enforcer or sicario for a cartel, but he's made somewhat of a break, but you never make a clean break, but he's done his best to move from that life into an equally violent life. He has the vices of hubris, which means that if I enter a dangerous situation without backup or assistance, I can activate my vice. And I have indifference, when you deny help or spare resources to someone in dire need. And
Cool.
we'll talk about the barrio later. Should we talk about the moves? Get Apex Predator, savage and messy. So it just means I'm real tough and I'm savage and messy and when I'm fighting. Night Stalker, when I have my mask activated, I can spot things better. I can use my better stat. And I have an increased Gara, which is like the fighting stat, right? When I have my mask on.
Nice. And what do you think your mask looks like?
Oh, I think it looks like a
like, is it well crafted?
I think it's like a bear. I think it's a bear. It's like a real stylistic, rough, wooden, chipped and worn out bear mask.
Well, I mean, it's a Jaguar mask, right? But
it's a Jaguar mask.
It's got a look, but it could look more like a, like a big, like furry kind of heavy, like one versus like a beautiful handcrafted kind of.
I think it's like handcrafted wood. It used to be beautiful, but it's really beat up at this point. Yeah.
Worn and beat up.
Yeah.
Almost looks like a bear.
Right. Yeah. We'll go with the Jaguar. I misspoke. I forgot about that whole.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. It could be the twist, right? Is that you put on a bear mask, but you turn into a jaguar. No one ever suspected that.
Right. There you go.
Thank you very much. Moving on to Patrick.
Hi, I'm Patrick, he, him pronouns, and I'm playing Simon, also he, him pronouns, the mono playbook, the monkey, the tinkerer, crafter. He is, let's see, Simon, he's on the smaller side, not like tiny, he's like 5'8" and sort of thin, very like neatly done hair and mustache all the time. Vices are curiosity, putting himself in danger to investigate a secret or mystery, and greed, endangering yourself for someone else to get something that I want. I want it so much. And then my moves are I have my artisano, my workshop that I do weird crafting and angel stuff in. And my 3 special features I have right now are a set of tools stolen from heaven, which I imagine them as like impossibly shiny and frail looking like glass hammers and like thin wire frame sort of tools that are always like perfectly clean and glittering, but don't crack or break. A walk-in fridge full of weird ingredients, which I think is something that we have built up over time. It's the stranger or rarer bits of angels that we haven't sold off as just like steak or whatever, and it's things he incorporates into the things he makes, both artistic and functional. And then a mysterious ancient relic you don't understand, which is like ancient bone carved tattooing needle, which is part of his curiosity. He couldn't help trying it out, even though he doesn't really understand exactly what it does or where it came from. And so from that, he has like his whole body is covered in tattoos, but they're these constantly moving, living looking tattoos of like native plants and animals. And so because of that, he tends to wear clothes that like very buttoned up shirts and jackets to keep most of his skin covered because the normies would freak out. But he doesn't just go around wearing like long sleeve clothes. He always wants the option to like take the jacket off and be proud of his tattoos when he can get away with it.
Nice. And
Yeah.
how about the monkey mask? I mean, I know that it's a monkey mask, right? But what kind of tags would you put on that?
I think he's sort of like tried to emulate that look of the angelic tools. So the mask is like mosaic sort of put together, but it's these like really shiny pieces of glass and metal to make the shapes and features in it.
Almost like a structure of wire, almost kind of like held together very like precisely, rather than like a carved piece of wood. It's like impossibly
I
like
like
precise
that.
wire and everything.
It looks like it doesn't have like eye holes or anything, but it's those little gaps in between things that he's looking out through.
Nice. Thank you very much, Patrick. And then on to I have to scroll all the way up to Keith.
Yes, Keith. I use the he, him pronouns, and I am playing Mari Chue, she, her. I practiced this tlaquache, which is a possum, and
I may just call you the possum at different points, because I'm
yeah,
probably going to butcher that more than
easier
anything
for me.
else in the
And I
entire
thought,
thing. Yeah.
why is this one not in Spanish like so many other ones are? And I looked it up in Spanish, and it was something also difficult like Zarigüe or something. Okay, so Miguel went, I'll give it more personality if it's going to be hard to say either way. She is, in my headcanon, played by the actress who did Bix in Andor, Adria Arjona, but I'm picturing after like the morning after a very hard night, like in some of the rougher scenes from Andor. If you've seen it, and if you haven't, you really should.
Post-interrogation, right? Like, yeah.
No spoilers, but gosh, it was good. She is young And there was a playbook choice between naughty eyes and sassy eyes, and I was like, I just want to right in between those two is where I'm thinking, like the sparkle of mischief and a messy look. I'm picturing if we were doing and my D&D stopped at second ed, so I don't know where it is now, but if we were doing alignments, chaotic good, maybe chaotic neutral, maybe just chaotic.
So a player character then, right? Okay.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to push this button. What will it do? Maybe something fun. We'll find out. Vices are greed and sloth. So she wants lots of fun, pretty things and would rather not have to work to get them. Very good at being tricky and sneaky. And the tlacuache, that was much better. Their thing is they have a tambache, which is like sort of a bindle or a bag that's full of things that are stolen, and I can reach in there and pull out what I need. So it's one of those wonderful prep list kind of I've got it moves. When I put on the opossum mask, I am better at stealing things, which is super in character. And I lost the second one. Where did it go? Also extra lucky. So I think that's going to be fun to put that on. And
I'd love to ask you about your tambache.
okay.
I mean, your bag, right? Is it a backpack? Is it a duffel bag? Is it a satchel? Is it a...
I'm picturing like a messenger bag.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know if I want to say very old, but let's say very well used. So like it doesn't really have a shape anymore. It was supposed to be like that kind of traditional squarish, put your laptop in it shape, but it is now kind of an amorphous mass of cloth that has been restitched and patched together and had maybe a couple extra pockets added on it. I shouldn't tell you this, but there is a hidden compartment inside it. Yes, shh, Simone, don't get any ideas over there.
I like it. Heavily modified and repaired.
And that is also definitely some of the aesthetic, because when I picked a vehicle, it's like basically a homemade moped. Like maybe there was an original one under there somewhere, but like if you had to identify the model, oh gosh, what's that Johnny Cash song where he steals all the parts of the car? It's like, oh, what kind of model is that? It's an 86, 87, 88, 89. Like, this is no longer an identifiable vehicle that someone could, well, you probably could point it out because you'd be like, look at that Frankenstein of a thing.
It's the moped of Theseus, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice.
Is it, what still is it?
And your possum mask?
Super stylized. I feel like from some angles you'd be like, what is that? Like, it reminds me of one of those, if you ever see like someone do shadow art where like it looks like a pile of garbage or something, and then light gets turned on and the shadow is like, oh, that's what it was, now I see it. Where like if you're looking at it from the wrong side, you're like, I can't tell what that is. And then you go, oh, got it. How did I not get that before? Now I can't unsee it.
Yeah. I like that. Cool.
And definitely bright colors, like the Alabrije kind of thing, contrasting neon colors and things, but not as bright as it used to be because it's not super well taken care of.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Thank you, Keith. And then finally, Rich.
Hello, I'm Rich. I use the he, him pronouns, and I am playing the venado. I think maybe is close to pronouncing it. I'm not a native Spanish speaker in any way, shape, or form. The venado is the deer. They are beautiful. They are often graceful, nimble, and evasive. Isa is her name, she, her. She is young with hungry eyes. She wears a colorful look. Her vices are, going with the theme because it's a short run, so why not? Narcissism and vanity. So she will escalate conflicts or endanger innocence to demand the spotlight. And she may push someone she cares about to sacrifice something important to accommodate her vanity. I want to check in here because I want to make sure no one has a problem with this, but in my headcanon that I was thinking, Isa was raised, look, we're all poor. I think Isa was raised very like starvation level poor. And then something happened. We can define it in that kept her from dying. But she has, as I've wrote in eyes, she never has enough. It's just never enough for her. Her hunger is unrelenting. She has among her gear an apartment in a fancy neighborhood. Oh, sorry, I gotta swap that. That's right. An apartment in a fancy neighborhood. Whenever she brought the pack over at times, individually or as a pack, it was amazing. That was months ago. It is now filled with stuff. She's a hoarder. When she goes out, she looks great, but she can't let go of things. She has the hunter prey move. She makes a show of her presence to a group of NPCs. On a hit, everyone locks their full attention on her for the rest of the scene, and she can exempt people. So if you've played Original Apocalypse World, it's that it's that move. She also has, oh crap, I didn't choose my totem moves. I'm supposed to choose 2 totem moves, but I think that she will have lightning antlers because that's amazing. And I do think that she will have Sixth Sense, which allows her to ask extra questions. Other than her apartment, she also has a top-notch stylish blade that a lover gave to her. Her barrio question is that there's a powerful and dangerous person crazy about her.
Quite to that yet.
Oh, I'm going too far.
We will
ahead,
do that.
so
We
I
will do that
apologize.
as a. Why don't we do that as a snaking, right? And then you can
Okay.
kick us off
Yeah.
with that. But can I first ask
Sorry.
you, what does your mask look like?
So her mask is, I found this, I'll show it, but I think there's a slight modification just for practicality's sake because she is a deer, not a buck. She's a doe, not a buck, but it's kind of a tiara. Like this hooks behind the ears and it doesn't completely cover her face, but I'm imagining it just like one horn comes up. So I may Photoshop it to be a little more svelte, but it doesn't hide her face. Of course, when she transforms, then she looks like a crazy deer person. But when she puts on the mask, it just looks cute, like a masquerade thing, guys. Not at all suspicious. Nice. That was created by over many long months by a very, very skilled smith who she then ghosted.
Skilled artisan.
After he made it.
Date who she ghosted. Nice. Cool.
Yeah, totally ghosted.
With that in mind, do you want to tell me about your barrio question?
Speaking of ghosted, so the barrio question is: a powerful and dangerous person is crazy about you and keeps sending you gifts. Who is it and how do you feel about them? It's Luis. Please, friends, go to the NPCs and places and look at the picture of Luis. That will tell you the entire story about who Luis is. That picture is so good. Luis, he's the son of the cartel boss. He's handsome enough, but he's so possessive. I don't like it. Sure, I tell him what he wants to hear, but only until I can pry myself away from him. And then I do what I really want.
Nice. Yeah, you tell him what he wants to hear, which, totally means that effectively you are leading Louise on to a great extent, right? It's that narcissism and thingy, right? Is it like, who knows, Louise, if you hadn't shown that you really loved all those compliments and the free things and all of those stuff, and then just slipped out the back before he could come and join your table, maybe he would have given up by now. But I guess you're doing that making yourself look out to be prey even as you run away kind of thing, right? Like you're totally manipulating Luis, the cartel boss, who is also probably a complete douchebag as well, right?
Yes, that is a true statement, I think.
I love about this game already that not one of you is all like 100% sympathetic as a character. It's great. You're all quite.
I mean, you're running it, so I'm just playing to your strengths.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And okay, thank you. I don't think I have any questions about Louise, but the reason I wanted to do this is because I've already got an idea now that you're talking about it in full, about like how that might work into the changarro questions later, which we'll get
Nice.
to. So then, Keith, would you like to tell us about Mary Choi?
Yeah.
Mary Choi? Okay, cool.
If you want to get formal, Maria de Jesus.
Okay, if I
But-
call her Mary, would that be inappropriate for just ease of use?
She might have to take it up with you. We'll see.
Okay, well, I'm God, so. you know.
Yeah, I've had a problem with that guy for a while. Your scams are infamous all over the barrio, and you're the usual suspect for any trouble. Who always gives you a heads up when someone is looking for you? It's Babosa, which means the slug. That's more from his parents. He is actually kind of quick-witted, but he knows how to play dumb to his benefit, and fortunately my benefit, because he will give me the heads up if anything is coming to get me, because he looks up to me as like a possible future, like, which is sad. It is it is sad for Barbosa that is the good outcome for him, is to become like Marty Choi.
But I bet you that Mary Trey sort of like likes being looked up to, right?
Yeah.
Likes that sort of like shine in the eyes of the
It's
boy.
kind of, she's like the doting aunt kind of thing for him, like, oh, she ruffle the hair and stuff. He's also in the NPCs in places.
Nice.
But he's not like, I mean, he's not Lewis to look at. You don't need to go there and look at it.
Wow.
I like that pick. It's good.
I like that pick. That's cool. Great. And I think that's answered everything as well. Like my questions about he's half living on the streets, right? So they get the impression that he has a unstable family situation, as opposed to, no family situation, right? Like he's in and out as opposed to always on the streets kind of thing. So probably just enough for Marriage to, have that vice of sloth, meaning that she doesn't really do all that much to sort of help him out, like to fundamentally change his situation. She's more the case of like, oh, here, I stole you something, kid, as opposed to, come live with me.
It's a very useful relationship right now, and you don't want to upset the apple cart.
Yeah, nice. And then over to Patrick.
All right. So my barrio question is: you recently poked your nose into something you shouldn't have investigated. What dangerous secret did you unveil? So I think tying back into that cartel, Luis's father's cartel. There's this like half abandoned, like no one owns it, but also no one knows to go, or everyone knows not to go there, because it's like the cartel's building that they work out of, that Simon had been like walking by, sort of studying from a distance for a while, because one of his Nahual abilities is being able to see like supernatural auras. And there was just like something weird, hinky about this building. And so he eventually went in to investigate it, and I think I'm going to pull in one of my relationship questions with that in a minute. He definitely shouldn't have gone poking around in the cartel's building, and even more so once he found inside, which is like an angel nursery. Like their baby angels growing, being made, something-ing there. And that probably went sideways real quick.
So you found an angel crash in a cartel building.
Yes. No idea what any of that means, but it sounds dangerous, so let's go with it.
Yeah. And that's definitely true. That is dangerous, right? Like, they talk about, Cupid, right? But that was just a legend. Nice. And
I'll come up with a name and picture for Luis's father.
Cool. And Jason. Luis's father, I think, may have a good name because there is a cartel member who may be one of your changarro's customers. So we can always make that the same person, by the way. But Jason?
Yeah, you killed a dangerous threat to the barrio. Someone is happy you did, but someone is not. Who are they? I say I killed a predatory priest, but my extremely pious mother Lupe found out and hasn't forgiven me.
Okay. Hasn't forgiven you, your mother.
There's a picture of her. I'm like 60, so she's in her 80s probably. She's an
Okay.
old lady.
So you're by far the oldest of this group.
Yeah, I imagine.
And I imagine you're still quite late into coming into your Nahual kind of power,
Mhm.
right? Did I hear you
Th-
right when you said that you used to work for the cartels?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's interesting. Do we like, how do we come to our power, or were we born with it, or how does that happen? Or is that
I think that the
be
suggestion
established?
is that you're always born with a stronger connection, right? But that in some point you're somebody else showed you how to make a mask and come
Mm,
into it, right? Because it isn't just a case of you know, perhaps you had your sort of like activated your X gene moment, right? Like embodied your Nahualness in a moment of high stress and etc. Which marked you out as different, and then from then on you saw the world slightly differently and eventually made contact with somebody who could teach you these ways, you know, because even amongst, you know, as much as like in the sort of wider public life, the sort of angels and, you know, Christianity and Catholicism sort of style of you know, Mexico, right? Like that whole faith, like at the same time, you know, there's a parallel sort of belief structure of like the old ways and everything, right? Like
mhm.
and even though this is a supernatural world where both are diametrically opposed, probably to the normies, they sort of don't seem all that different. They're just unaware of the battle, the metaphysical battle that's been going on for centuries, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well,
Can I throw
yeah,
out
yeah.
a thought that I had, Jason? Totally up to you. What if Salvador is like the older uncle of the current boss of the cartel?
Well, yeah, I could see that. Sure. You want to play with that? Does that sound interesting to you, Will? Something you want to play with?
What, that you're an uncle to the
Somehow related to the cartel family?
well, I was thinking you definitely worked, you know, you're known to them, right?
Yeah.
As a member. Like
Right.
maybe you're not blood,
Do you
blood,
ever
but
really leave the cartel?
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Maybe the only reason I'm still alive is because I am related to the cartel family somehow, you know.
And
Yeah.
Will, I decided to take your advice, and looking on the sheet, I think our cartel boss is Don Fidencio, Luis's father.
Nice. Because
Yes.
in a one shot we should make all of those things loop around as
Yep.
much as possible, right? Like
That's
kills
why I threw out the idea of like you being the uncle, because that's juicy.
yeah.
So it doesn't have to be, but it was a thought I had.
In a similar,
Maybe more along the lines of like Salvador used to be the Dons, like that's the reason, right? Like that he's not that you don't ever really leave the cartel. But Salvador was so important to the Don that he was allowed to leave this much, right?
Right.
Like he's you know, like I'm hanging up my guns, and rather than getting the usual retirement package, he was like, okay, I can respect that, Salvador. But you know, my door is always open to you, kind of thing.
Sure.
I realized for Salvador's question, it's who's unhappy and also who is happy, right?
Mm,
Oh, that's true.
someone
Let's
is happy
see.
you did.
Would you want to pick one of our
Uh,
existing NPCs for that to keep it looping back?
well,
And I'm going to say
I
the
think,
predatory priests. I'm kind of imagining like perhaps like the ways that angels like become like, you know, like super powerful is that they sort of possess people. You know what I mean?
sure.
Like they get closer, and like if I'm phrasing it as like as they get closer to humanity, right? They become more and more able to understand us and prey on us and whatever, right? Like perhaps on some level they can kind of be like, instead of the demon sitting on your shoulder, the angel sitting on your shoulder, whispering in and going like, you know, they just need to have faith. They just need to be good. Why can't they be good? You can show them how to be good. Like until they
Well,
override the predatory priest and become, you know.
maybe Barbosa. Maybe I saved Barbosa from that sort of manipulation. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
That's where I was hoping you'd go. I love it.
Exactly where I was hoping you'd go as well.
I was too, but I didn't want to force it. let him choose anything.
Yeah, I love when like the entire table is like, please do this, but no one says
Yeah.
it right out loud.
Okay, so I added that in. I saved Barbosa, but my mother wasn't happy about me killing a priest.
Yeah. And I think that's got to be the tension, right? Hasn't it? Between, for a lot of these things, is that no one would believe you that angels are horrific creatures, because they're angels, right? They're so good. But cool. Okay, that's perfect. Well, should we start off with our relations now? Or relations? I have no idea. I can't really try and speak Spanish without slipping into a French accent, it seems. Too close.
We're gonna link each of the other characters to one of ours. Is that how this works?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it like I don't think that everybody needs a relationship to each other. I'm more than happy for we go around, we do one relationship each, and then as long as you've got like, what's it called, like the triangle going on, you know, like maybe Issa is connected to Mary, and Mary's connected to Salvador, and Salvador's connected to Simon, and Simon's connected to Issa, and Mary's, you know, it doesn't necessarily need to be the default assumption of like, go around the table so you've all got overlapping relationships, right? They don't need to be, if Rich is a relationship with Mary, then Mary doesn't need a different relationship back with Rich, kind of thing, you know. We'll just do it until it looks like we've got a nice healthy thing, and then people can do the if they've got one they want to throw out, there, then they can do, or we'll stop when people say I'm done, basically. Does
Do
that
we
make
throw
sense?
it out there and then the table decides if anybody wants to grab it? Is that the way you want to
That's
do
my
it?
favorite way of doing it, I
Yeah,
think.
I agree.
I mean, you can always throw it out there and say, I think that would fit for whoever, right? Like, I think everybody here is familiar and like decent player enough to not overstep on any of that and not take it personally when someone says, no, I don't want that, or the other way around, like feel forced into it by somebody else's decision. So do feel free to say, you know, like we can all have that conversation out loud rather than manage the politeness principles, you know.
I've got a juicy one I'm ready to throw out there then, if we want to jump in.
Mm-hmm.
You killed someone important to blank. Do they know you're responsible for the death?
Oh,
Anybody want to grab that?
so if you grab that, that means that you're going to create somebody who was important to you who is now dead.
Uh-huh.
I could do that.
Nice.
Okay, Simone.
I think it's an artist that I've been working with for years.
And I don't know if I answered this part or you, but do they know you're responsible for the death? I would say it'd be more interesting if you do know. What do you think, Patrick?
Because I think if you do know, then at some point there's maybe the tension between like, we're fated to some extent to be on the same side because we share this totemistic link, but also perhaps that it suggests that Salvador will have killed him as a member during his cartel killings, right, where he was just ultimately a tool rather than a, you know, go kill that guy, as opposed to I want to kill that guy, right? Like,
okay,
Could be either.
okay,
Yeah.
but
I
it depends
could deal
upon
with
where
that.
it depends on where you feel Simone would live, right? Because you know, it depends on your capacity for such moral relativism, right? Like, and you're interested in forgiving somebody for such a thing.
No, I think that's interesting. If it was someone that Salvador had just killed because of Salvador reasons, I don't think Simone would be working with him and know that. But if it was something related to the cartel, something that Salvador was impersonally connected to and didn't feel like he had a real choice about, I think we could work past that.
Okay.
Although not fully.
Yeah. Still out there, right?
Maybe your friend was going to go to the cops or something, you know, and inform on the cartel. And one of my last acts as a cartel enforcer was to take him out. How's that work?
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, certainly that's what they told Salvador, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had to die because he was going to talk. It certainly isn't that, you know, he refused to work for Louise, and Louise had him ordered assassinated in a fit of pique, right? Like, couldn't possibly be any of those things. Okay, cool. I love it. So, we now have a link between Salvador and Simone. Simone, would you like to throw one out?
Sure. So sorry, finding my place. So related to that Barrio question of getting into the cartel's building and seeing lots of shit we shouldn't. I think I got someone in serious trouble because of my curiosity. What happened and why do you feel so bad about it? And I'm open to suggestions, but I feel like that's pointing towards Issa.
Gosh, I was just thinking that like that sounds like yes, Rich did freeze the things.
I did freeze the pics. Sorry, I love pics. You gonna unfreeze it?
Yeah, I've unfrozen it now. I love the pics as well, but it does become a real estate issue, right? Like how
That's
much
fair.
space
That's
can you
fair.
dedicate
That's
towards it?
fair. I have the benefit of a larger monitor. Which relaciones are you offering up, Patrick? I'm sorry.
That you got in serious trouble because of my curiosity of having to get into that building and finding the Angel Crash Nursery inside of the cartel's building.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So what happened and why do you feel so bad about it is my question. Why do I feel so bad about it would be the thing. But yeah, I feel like your relationship with Louise or former relationship with Louise is what got us in.
I think.
I was just going to say my initial reading of that question directly after the last question is, what happened? Well, they went after Ruiz, the artist who helped them design the Angel Crash, right, or something, and that's why Salvador had to kill them, was because yeah. I like that it's Issa. So what would I mean, you had to have led trouble, I think, to Issa's doorstep, or maybe Issa's relationship with Louise is how you got into the
Exactly. Issa's relationship to Luis is how Simone got in. I think I brought you in there. Like I took a key from Luis or a pass key of some kind, like a swipey key, and we went in, and that means I've seen the crash. That was the phrase I believe Will used. Not sure about that word. Gonna Google it later. And we got in some serious trouble. I think that sounds delightful for a one shot, and I love it.
Is that situation what broke you and Louise up, or was this after you'd already broken up?
We're not exactly together. I just tell him that. He's very mad.
Yeah, it was very much, I think, like a nightclub somewhere, like Louise coming over with like drinks, and like he said, like, oh yeah, oh, did you get one for my friend? And Louise being like, oh yeah, sure, no problem, babe. It turns around and leaves his wallet and his keys on the table as he goes back to the bar, right? And then when he comes back, there's just his wallet, and Simone's taken them to go mischief.
Why do you feel so bad about it? So there has to be a reason why you feel really bad right now.
It's definitely not for Louise's sake.
Right, of course not. Is it that's what ended up with your artist friend getting killed? Like, do we want to tie those together? I think that was one thing that Will threw out.
Yeah, because I was going to throw out that Angel Crash. Perhaps like some of the I don't know, like the art on the wall, or like some of the strange structures, right, that are sort of like in these cribs, like a kind of like the weird geometries and stuff. Like maybe you recognize that as some of the work of your artist friend.
Okay, that's okay. Sorry, I'm trying to think through the twistiness.
Yeah. But
but,
more is along the lines of like inadvertently. No, but you got Issa
Yeah.
in serious trouble. You got Issa in serious trouble, so it has to be about Issa because of that, right?
Oh, yeah,
so
that's
I-
fair. That's fair.
So-
what happened? Why you feel bad? Well, I mean, I think we can tie them all together. I think, Luis is unwilling to admit to his dad that it's because of him that someone broke in and saw the crash. And
Mhm.
so he blamed it on the artist. We really need to give them a name at some point. He blamed it on the artist.
I wrote down as a note Ruiz, but obviously feel free to change that just because I went to my.
I'm not
Oh,
gonna
Ruiz
do
and
it.
Luis, that would get a
Yeah,
Paco.
yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Paco.
Sure.
Paco?
So Luis ended up saying that it was Paco that let someone in there. But Issa is in serious danger of retaliation from Luis because he knows the truth about like who.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Luis
you've
knows.
escalated that like parasocial obsession, right? That Luis has over like you owe me kind of thing now, right? Like he feels as though something's owed. I like that. Lending weight to his infatuation. I'll write it down as that, right? Like, or potential threat to his infatuation, because it's not just a case of, oh, you're amazing and you should be with me, the cartel's boss. It's also a case of, well, you did cross the cartel and I'm the only thing stopping them from coming after you. Okay. Suddenly that relationship with Luis became a lot more loaded, didn't it?
It did. Nice work. Love it. That's why you feel guilty.
And then Mary Troy?
I have a lot of ideas for them. Let's see which one I want to go to first. Let's find them again. Oh, I guess I'm the one who doesn't have anything pointing towards me, so that doesn't help me decide which one to go with. I'm gonna go with Issa knows about a scam you're currently working. Ask them why they haven't told anyone. And actually, Rich, if it helps, I think Mari Chue is totally like, I don't know what the relationship, like, not jealous, maybe admiring, like all that stuff you're hoarding. Like, it's really cool you got all that stuff and you have interesting things, and like, what's the deal with your nice apartment, or at least an apartment in a nice neighborhood? Like,
So you got some kind of scam you're currently working? What is the scam?
well, there's one that you know about.
It's true.
Is it fencing, maybe?
Sure.
Like, because then you could be like one of Issa's sources for stuff,
Yeah, like I was
God, that's
thinking,
so hard.
whatever the scam is, it kind of benefits.
But I'll have a use for that. I don't think we should. I have plans to use that. It looks so nice. It's very hard. Why am I not saying anything? Because I think Issa's doesn't have a whole lot of money. Like, she burns through money because of that just constant hunger. And the reason she hasn't told anybody about you fencing stuff that you probably don't have legal access to is she knows at some point she's going to have to let go of some things. She just hasn't brought herself to do it, and she needs you as a backup for when that happens. So it's a good plan. You have a good plan.
Yeah, because despite you living a fancy lifestyle, you're massively poor, you are poor. So you're basically like over leveraged, right? So like anything cheaper is kind of like, oh, designer handbag. Like, it's amazing you got some, you say, as you put one over your shoulder and walk out, right? Like, okay.
Exactly.
And you, Issa. So we have a link, Salvador to Simone, a very loaded one, Simone to Issa, a more friendly one that's had some consequences, and again, Issa to marry a more friendly one with some secrecy.
So I'm going to offer this first to Salvador. Salvador, which interests you more? That Issa thinks you can't stand her presence, or that Salvador is always so serious and boring. Why am I set to making you loosen up a bit? Or blank rejected, Salvador rejected my affections before, and why is it still gnawing at me? Which of those interests you the most, Jason?
Probably the second one. Salvador is always so serious and boring. Why are you so set on making them loosen up a bit and enjoy the pleasures of life? That sounds pretty good. I think
Nice. I like it.
Salvador is a pretty basic guy, and you sound pretty sophisticated and extroverted, and he's the opposite. So yeah.
Good. I am. It is a mission of mine to help you to loosen up and enjoy the pleasures of life before it's all stolen away from us.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we'll go back around, and you don't have to throw one out, but this is your chance to keep throwing them out if you want.
Are we
Jason?
snake ordering? Like, am I doubling up, or are we just?
No, we'll
bouncing
go
back?
back to the go back to the
Okay.
start.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like blank knows your darkest secret. What is it? Isabella or Marichai? Either one of you want to jump on that?
Absolutely.
All right. So Marichai knows my darkest secret. What is it? And again, should I establish that, or should Keith or work together? What do you think, Will?
Work together, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm thinking there's like two possible categories. Either something that plays into what you've already established with Salvador and his history with the cartel and stuff, or like would the secret be the absolute opposite of that? Like something that a ruthless, cold-blooded enforcer should not have done?
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe those people I was ordered to kill, I didn't really kill them.
Yeah.
And they're hidden out in a safe house somewhere. Someone that the cartel boss would really be upset that I hadn't killed. Who might that be?
Like a rat or a traitor in the organization?
Right. Maybe it's Simone's friend to make it even more interconnected. Maybe Simone's friend isn't really dead. Maybe I have him hidden out somewhere.
Oh, that would be twisty, especially since you've let Simone believe he's dead.
Mm-hmm. Do we get a name for that person?
Paco.
Paco. Okay. You want to go with that, everybody? Does it sound good?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't like undermine your previous one, because if it still works, right? Simone thinks he's dead, so there's still that tension.
Yeah, and
Ooh.
Issa's still in big trouble with Luis for the whole situation, so there's still fallout and consequences.
Yeah,
and that then it makes it really interesting because I know that he's not dead, and I could like make Simone happy and maybe get Issa off the hook, but really throw Salvador's ass in the fire.
Yeah, I think that the implication there is that Simone thinks that Paco's dead still, right? So to me, that implies that perhaps Simone has never really openly talked about this with Salvador so much as like knows that Salvador was a contract killer and knows that they were associated with the cartel at the time of Pac. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of kind of like, I don't know for sure that you were the one, but maybe it doesn't matter that you were the one because you were working for them, right? You were just a tool in their hands, but like, so why bring it up? But it's all kind of like internal, kind of like dramatic staring over the table and like nothing, no, nothing kind of thing. And like unspoken, all ready to boil over to be like, you killed my friend, you son of a bitch. Yeah. And then like, what? No, I saved him.
The interesting question, which I think we should probably just answer with as we play, is why did I not kill Paco?
Yeah. So okay, that's an interesting dynamic. And then Simone, do you have anyone that you'd like to throw out?
Yeah. I crafted an object for someone. And it's either beautiful, resilient, or lethal. I'm wondering if someone feels that.
I'm feeling that. You crafted some weapon for me, probably.
So you think lethal?
Yeah, I think lethal.
Yeah, I think it's like
I have this hatchet. Maybe it's like a mystic hatchet or something, or like a
Yeah, I
ahead.
think it's a hatchet with like an obsidian head
Okay.
that has designs carved in it. So it's probably not going to be useful more than once or maybe twice. It's going to break, but you know, it's got a little supernatural oomph behind it maybe, and it'll definitely make it through any sort of metal detector that you want to go through.
Like it.
Nice. Yeah, that's really good.
And then I killed your friend with it.
Yeah. Cool. Mary,
Oh,
anything for you? Are you okay with that, Sam? Do you wanna?
sorry, I was just in the endless need to make it more twisty. Is it maybe already broken? Like, did I find a piece of it broken at the murder scene?
Oh, a slither of the obsidian, like
Okay, sure.
nestled in the
Yeah.
in the headboard, right? Like where there's just a big black stain across the bed, and the Mexican police sort of like shaking their head.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was thinking Simone used to hang around with you thinking you were cool. What did you do to disappoint him? And I think there may be a basis for that with like some of the stuff that you do, I'm into, like the tinkering and the cobbling together. Like I've kind of got a background of messing with that with like the messenger bag and the moped, and also the skull maybe is the thing there. Like I was maybe doing it as an homage, and it came across differently.
Yeah, you know, you meant it as like, oh, I was inspired by your thing and I made this, and really I just seen that you've like exactly copied the thing that I made, and now you're going around and showing it off to everyone, like, look at this amazing piece of art that I made. Just not
I'm
even
thinking it
mentioning
isn't
Simone.
so much like I'm not taking credit for it. It's just like, wow, that's so cool. I want to do that too. And
You're a hustler, aren't you? So like you're a scam. You know, you're always on the hustle, trying to make money and get ahead and everything, right? And like Simone is an artist who has a workshop, who's crafted this cursed item, and you've got this knockoff. To me, doesn't it scream that you're like trying to to trick people that this is the real deal, like almost, you know? I don't know.
at least not yet.
Okay.
Like it's definitely a possibility, but like I think it was innocent.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, but you know, hey, it's not
Okay.
easy to make that. What do you think you're doing? Like, this is like a caricature of what I made. No, it's cool. And you know, actually, maybe now that it's burned and not like, yeah, it probably is going to become part of a scam. But I think as we're entering play, it's like, dude, I did imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, man. Come on.
Yeah. Cool. And finally, Isabella, do you have any more ties you want to throw out?
Does anyone want to have a thing with Issa, like a romantic physical relationship, or would they rather have been neglected by Issa?
Are you, if you're excited about the relationship, yes, I'll take it. But I already have a connection with you, so if anybody else wants,
That's true. I already have a connection with everyone now, right? Got Issa in trouble. Simone got me in trouble. You and I have, what was the thing? Oh,
scam.
Yeah, a scam. So I'm good with us having that makes it even more, the scam and the fencing and the relationship. I think I haven't allowed you over to the place. Yeah, so we have a thing together. Am I toying with your feelings or also serious about it? I think right now she's toying.
Such a toying.
Skittish, you know?
Yeah,
Cultish,
she's a little skittish.
Yeah.
She's like a deer, you know?
Yeah. Cool. I think that those are good complementary ones as well, right? Like it doesn't so much create an entirely different one so much as just flesh out that one a bit further.
Exactly.
You know.
I like that. Makes me happy. I'm happy with it.
So I go back again to the start. You don't have to. If there's anything else, if you want to try tie your character into a specific way to another person, Jason, is there anything more you like?
They're all really good, but I'm thinking, given we're only playing for 2 sessions, maybe it's better to skip and just go with what we got.
Yeah.
So I'll skip.
Cool. Simone?
I also feel very twistily tied into everyone.
Cool. And Mary?
Yeah, I had one for Simone as well, but I think maybe I will
Cool.
bow to the wisdom of the folks.
And Rich?
I think I'm good.
Cool. I was trying to, it occurred to me to do it a bit like, microscope, like everyone gets to say one thing and then as soon as someone defers, that's the end of the round. Everyone else just gets to one more chance at deferring, right? And then, cool. Should we take our last 5-minute break and then we'll do our changarro and maybe do a couple of moves as a pack, basically. Cool. Well, if we turn over to our El Changarro page, doing the carniceria, the butcher shop. You are not open for retail business. You only sell raw angel meat to special clients, making deliveries direct to them. Business is good, but the competition is harsh. Some jealous angeleros want to steal your clients at all costs. So you have 2 problems. Wherever your butcher's shop is, it is in a place that's usually targeted by burglars, no matter how much you try to keep it safe. Sometimes they manage to break in and steal stuff from you. So, and the other problem is dirty competition. Another group of angeleros wants to steal your clients. They'll use all type of dirty tactics to take you down. So there's a rival Nahual group out there who is also looking to cut in on your territory, which is another reason why I wanted to choose this one, because that was way more interesting than a pack of angels.
Super cool. I did not realize that about the butcher shop. That is awesome.
Yeah. So a rival Nahual pack and thieves. So let me just quickly bring up the changarro. Does it give you a step of changarro creation? There we go. Choose the one. Problem, special features. It does not have a step-by-step guide of doing that, does it? Aha, here we go. So what do we think about our butcher shop? Anyways, we have to choose clients, 2 moves, and then we have to talk about the duties that people do at the butcher shop. That you split between you.
I have an idea for a name.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the Painting the Peaceable Kingdom? Okay, let me see if I can share my screen.
Oh yeah, no, I see
That
it,
guy
yeah.
with all of the animals and all together and well, peaceable. I feel like it would be ironic-ish, like we're butchering angels and stuff, to go with that in Spanish.
So, El Rhino Pacifico.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like that because one of my gear things is that I've done a like full-size mural on the outside of our building. So I think it's a version of that.
That's dope.
And
Nice.
it has some subtle angel magic bits worked into it so that like over the course of the day as the light changes on it, the colors and emphasis changes, so it's like different animals sort of appear out of the background at different parts of the day.
And of course, all of our animals are in there. All of our nahuales.
Yes, yeah, there's a deer there, there's a monkey, yeah, I love it.
Simone, you started with the deer though, right? Of course. Started with the deer.
Oh, yeah. If you're asking, that's definitely what I started with.
Good. Good call.
I love how you phrase that. If you're asking.
Okay. I like it. So we know that it's there. I guess I'd like to ask Well, there's also the question of establishing like your home turf. We could cover a little bit of that if I asked you, like, do you think your home turf, your hunting grounds is essentially like near where your butcher shop is, right? That makes simplistic sense to me as a easy option, right? Just to not have two separate areas to keep track of. But then that means like, what kind of area is it that your butcher shop is in? Do you think?
I'm picturing like sort of a classic barrio, very congested, rundown, a lot of concrete buildings, but also some old stone churches, classic Mexican churches, spread about. That's what I'm visualizing.
Yeah.
Riddled with small churches.
Think to add on to that, it's one of those, like, it's very mixed use, right? Like, there are houses that have been converted to businesses, there are businesses that were already there, people are living in unconventional places, like a self-made cinder block house on what was an empty lot, but now it's been claimed.
Lots of what's it called? Let's say grassroots architecture, right? Cool. Just on that topic, do we want to name one landmark that's in this barrio beyond the butcher's shop?
I like
Maybe
the idea of the
the-
church that Jason was
church?
bringing. Like, maybe
Yeah.
there's a specific church,
Specific church.
Our Lady of something or other.
Right, where the priest worked that I killed.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Our Lady of Fallen Grace, maybe.
That's
Like
good.
I think there's a ranch outside the barrio where the cartel boss is too. Maybe get that on the table.
Yeah, a landmark for the cartel. I'm not sure.
Or
if
maybe up on a
ranch-
hill, or like a mansion up on a hill that we can kind of see from the barrio.
I like Mansion on Hill.
Yeah, overlooked by what's the Mexican the Spanish for house again?
Casa.
Casa. Yeah, like on the casa.
Just like literally staring down at us.
Is that where
Yeah.
Don Fidencio lives?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And he's got Diablo pets. That's
La Casa and Colina. The house on the hill, right?
Yeah.
Like, not La Casa El Hill, which would be Hank Hill's house, right? La Casa El Colina,
I'll
owned
tell
by.
you what.
You mean via con Dios, surely. Sorry. Owned by Don. Cool. And that plays perfectly because the last question I have to ask about a turf is the faction that controls it. And I'd already was going to say, can we please make it the cartel, right? So yeah, perfect. Cool. Yeah, that's an area that's not really structured in the book, but then as you look at it, it's like it's definitely part of the structure of the game. It just doesn't seem to have like much reference everywhere else. Just like build 3 different turfs that you hunt in, basically. But in any case, now back to the changarro. That explains why your place is insecure. The group of Angelos, maybe we'll talk about those when it comes up. But for the now, what do we want to do? The moves, the clients, or the duties?
Well, I think we've established Don Fidencio is one of our clients.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
So is he trusting or skeptical, do you think?
I think he's skeptical.
Yeah. I feel like we've not built a great relationship with that family.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's someone's fault.
We have let's see. One client is trusting and one is skeptical. So we need a trusting client also.
Yeah. So I'm going to say that Don Fidencio distrusts his Angeleros because one of them is far too familiar with his son.
Yeah. I like La Dama de Negro.
I really do too.
I do too.
It's not.
I didn't want to immediately be like, let's throw in a vampire, but let's throw in a vampire.
I was gonna say definitely not a vampire.
Is it a vampire if it's just angel blood, though? It's probably not a vampire.
Definitely not a antediluvian whose taste for blood has gone so far down.
No, he's bled some Vampire the Masquerade. This is good.
I've probably known her for like 40 years and she's never aged a day.
It's the
Must
angel
be the
blood,
angel
though.
blood. Yeah, like why are we
Not a
drinking?
vampire.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Maybe she
good.
just bathes in it. You know, it's not weird.
Oh,
Salvador, I'm just going to write a note there for it. Salvador has known her for decades. She looks the same.
and I'm picturing Salma Hayek for that. Does that
Yes.
work
You
for
just
people?
recently watched Eternals or something. No.
Oh, Dust Till
Well, I'm
Dawn.
thinking,
Dusk
yeah,
Till Dawn.
yeah,
Yeah,
of course, it's Dusk from Dawn. Yes.
No one other than you, Rich, has ever spontaneously thought of the Eternals since watching it.
I watched it literally yesterday, half of it. I haven't
Exactly.
finished it yet. I'm going to.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's the word for it, I guess. Yeah. I'd actually say that's pretty fair. Anyways, not to besmirch the Eternals. That's 2 clients. Everybody else is a non-client. There are moves to get people from the status, right? But obviously your goal is to have trusting clients rather than skeptical clients and clients over non-clients, right? Ultimately. So then we could talk about the duties, which is just fluff, or the moves, which is mechanical. Does anyone want to pitch a move or pitch what they think they do at the butcher shop?
I think
I
I do all
obviously
the,
take orders. I'm the people person.
yeah, and I'm in the
Okay.
back cleaning up, mopping up the blood and all that good stuff.
If you just put that in a bucket, then pour it into a glass, La Dama del Negro will be fine with it.
Mm,
Just maybe
She
a
is
cheesecloth. Cheesecloth.
Salvador cleans up because everybody takes part in the butchery. That's part of the ritual of being a Nahual. Like nobody gets to sit it out and just do the paperwork. But so Salvador sounds like the guy who actually cleans up the mess afterwards and keeps all of the areas like functional, right? Methodical, almost like someone stripping a gun, I imagine.
mhm.
How about Simone? What do you think Simone's doing there? Feel free to, paraphrase or come up with it. You don't need to be take out the trash, right? Like,
Yeah.
'cause that's the most demeaning role anybody could do.
Well, I like the like truck maintenance and tool maintenance, but is this a battle wagon truck? What is the truck for exactly?
I actually think that those duties may have come from the taco vendor one rather than the.
That makes a lot more sense. Okay.
Let me have a quick check to see that the duties written on there.
Yeah, we don't
yeah,
have a
these
grill.
are
No,
different.
they're very, very similar. Hang on, let me just copy and paste them in.
I got
Yeah.
it. Okay. All right.
The
You
guy who
fixing
did
it?
this
All right.
character keeper. I mean, come on.
It's a fool. He's a fool. Lying, silly little fool.
Yeah.
So I mean, similar though. I
Yeah.
think it's sharpen the tools, wash the equipment, take care of our tools.
Yeah, to a fine precision, right? Like every knife, like sharpened, so it's just as sharp as it was. Because those angel bones, man, especially the wing ones, like they'll blunt even a buzzsaw. Like, cool. And how about Mary?
So let me know what you guys think of this. I feel like with the sloth, like she does as little as possible in general, but it kind of like, oh, you're the jack of all trades, like whatever needs to get done, like, so like Salvador thinks I'm picking up the trash and Simone thinks that I'm out portioning the meat and stuff gets done, but like you guys probably don't realize that mostly you're doing it.
Sounds good. I've put Mary does as little as possible, but manages to make herself look very busy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Walking
fair.
walking around with a clipboard and a pencil, looking very important.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just going to overwrite those duties there because I don't think we need to really worry about the existing ones. Cool. And then the moves. Anyone? You get to choose 2 of them, I think. Let me just double check. Changarro moves. each changarro gives you a move by default, which is your
Special delivery.
special delivery, yeah. And then you get to choose one from the list below.
I think quid pro quo is probably the most interesting one here in a short run like we're gonna have.
Yeah.
Anybody have a different idea?
Oh yeah, definitely asking favors from the not vampire.
Mhm.
La Dama de Negro. Okay. I like it.
It does seem like it gives you the most story. The other two are basically just you're slightly better at mechanics.
Exactly.
Yes.
Give me story.
So, anyone want to add anything more about our changarro before we go on? I'm imagining that you're an exclusive butcher shop, right? You're not open for retail business, right? So you got to be tucked away somewhere that's not kind of like right out in the open. Maybe at like the back of like a marketplace or something, like in the barrio. Like you have to, either go all the way around it and down the side or walk your way through all of the hustle and bustle of the shops to get to the back area, right? Where there's just a few guys mixing boxes and everything. And if you look the right person, they'll just go like, there, senor, point you down the right way towards the butcher's shop where there's this really iron tang in the air, like even from a mile away. An iron tang that seems to, like almost smell like rose petal as well at the same time. Like it's weird. Yeah.
I like that because it keeps the messiness of like there are presumably innocent people working and or living in the same building with us.
Yeah, and that wall's like, the back of the marketplace, maybe, right? Like kind of spread all across one thing and then down the corridor towards the back rooms where your loading bay, etc. Right?
Nice.
In a disused section of a busy marketplace hidden at the back. Cool, but with that, all that done, shall we? I know I originally said it, I don't know if everyone caught that. I originally said we'd do the hunting and then the butchery move and then the expendio move, but I'd misunderstood how stock works. Like I got it inverted. You fill stock up as you go, as opposed to have a full stock and deplete it. So hunting doesn't generate stock, it clears your stock track, basically. Which means that if I did it right now, it would make no difference to anything whatsoever beyond the bad consequences, right? So let's do the expendio move. As the book says so, strangely, I guess it's like they thought about this. At the beginning of the first session, mark restock for each client, and then roll with restock marked. So we have La Dama de Negro and Don Fidencio, both of whom are, your clients, as mistrusting as Don Fidencio is, the man that he sends down, it's not Louise like normal, who normally comes up to pick it up. And, you normally get to gouge him for a little bit more and deliver a little bit underweight, maybe. Instead, it's a very businessman-like, grunt, basically. He just doesn't look at you through it, never takes his black sunglasses off as he picks up his stock, because he's your skeptical client. But so roll with restock marked. You have two clients, so you get to roll a +2. Who would like to roll for the Charangaro? I am going to nominate Keith, because he's in my screen the one who stands out from the bunch of viewers from the box, basically.
Oh, I'm in a different
Yeah.
spot. That sounds dangerous.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, I haven't put my name in yet, though. If someone else wants to do it, I am a little behind on the roller.
Okay.
I got it. Just 2 dice.
Two
Roll it.
dice +2.
Perfect. There we go. Big 8.
An 8. So on a hit, we mark profit for each client. No, on any hit, mark 1 profit, and I choose one of these things. One of your problems comes to bear, or the client has a special delivery they want you to do for them. Oh, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I could immediately have Don Fidencio wants a special delivery made, right? Wants you to take this angel meat to his rival in the other cartel. But I also really love the idea of throwing your rival group of Angeleros at you, right? Like,
Mhm.
I'm going to sit on that for in between sessions, if that's okay. I don't think we need to know immediately, right? So I get to choose one from that. But since we now have restock marked, and I'd love to see it, shall we do a little hunt? La casiera. Like show you how you go about your hunt, right?
Yeah.
So for simplicity's sake, I was going to go hunting in your turf, because if you're not hunting in your turf, then it's basically a full full on scenes and everything to actually do the angel hunt, right? Whereas I would rather see both the hunting move and the butchery move. The hunting move more abstracts all of it, rather than you actually have to take down each angel individually in fiction. So why don't I ask Patrick, you're on the hunt for more angels, right? You've just paid off your 2 clients. You've got some angel meat still left in the stock, but this is a business. It's going to keep on going, right? If you're going to get more clients, then you're certainly going to need more angel meat. And right now, your turf isn't scarce. It's not been overhunted, right? I don't think. So, do you want to lay out who do you think is leading the pack here, Patrick?
I mean, it probably makes most sense for Salvador, especially like the first question is there: do you have a predator, Nahual? And he's the only predator we got.
Do you think that's like a natural deference then that everyone has to Salvador in this thing?
Yeah, age before beauty. What?
I'm imagining, like, as you go out on the hunt, if you're putting on your mask, right, you're stood next to the mural, and you just happen to all be stood like right next to the images of the creatures,
love
right?
it. It's great.
So
I'm wondering if we go to La Dama de Negro and see if she knows of maybe where there's some good angel meat to be gotten. I'd like to see that move that we just got, the quid pro quo, but I'm not the talker. Someone with Barrio would have to do it.
I think
Or
you'll
do
have
you want to just?
I
we
think
do
you'll
that
have an
later?
opportunity to do quid pro quo in game plenty next session, right? Like
Okay.
it'll always be an option on the table to go to her. I think that because it's your turf and you are the end, it doesn't make sense to me that you go to La Dama Negra, who comes to you for angel meat to,
Okay.
yeah. Unless you were really desperate, right?
Mhm.
Like, but so you're all deferred to Salvador. So let's go with these questions. Do any of the hunters have a predator Nahual? Yes. Right.
What tab are you on?
The Angelero trade.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, which is the other moves tab, I suppose, really,
Mhm.
And so that's a +1. Now, does every Angelero summon the Nahual? Because if you do that, you have to pay the stress cost for it as well.
Oh, sure. Stress is great. I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
But you don't have to.
It's-
Do you have to spend stress if you eat a meat or whatever?
Yeah,
so
that's it. You have to
we
use a heart.
presumably all have our masks, and so it's a choice between spending the heart or spending the stress.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I'll spin a stress. That
Yeah.
heart means a lot to me.
I'll eat a meat and put my mask on. Or what is it? Is it like a wafer or like a chunk of meat, or what do you think this stuff looks
It's
like?
peyote.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a special. It's called the heart of the earth because it's from the earth, and like you can also use the heart of an angel to do the same thing, but you don't start off with one of those, right?
No.
Oh no, I couldn't possibly go out on a hunt fucked up on magic drugs. I'm sorry, I was kidding. I'm definitely taking the drugs.
Wait, I meant I couldn't possibly not go on a hunt while taking magic drugs. Yeah. So if everyone can police their own stress, it's 1 if you don't, or if you didn't take a heart, it's 0 if you do take a heart. I don't think everybody starts off with a heart, do they? Everyone does start off with a heart, yeah.
Looks like they'll have 2.
No,
Yeah.
everyone does start off with 2, yeah. Cool. And then So everyone's got that. We're on +2. Does anyone have the afraid or insecure conditions marked? No.
No.
So +3 now. Does the turf have any scarcity marked? You know what? I'm going to say it's got a 1 scarcity marked. You've hunted here before, right? So let's take a -1 just for whatever, right? So now you got a minus. You got a +2. So yeah. Do you want to roll, and then we'll see what the dice result is, and then why don't we sort of like each of you do a scene kind of like amongst the hunt, like you're rolling it sort of thing, and how it went, right? And you can try and incorporate the consequences of that into your description as well.
Should
So
we
yeah.
figure out what our hunting strategy is to help frame that?
Your hunting, yeah, that could help. Yeah, why don't we talk about your hunting strategy? It doesn't the benefit and the risk are fictional in this. I do really like that if you're not hunting in your turf, they become more mechanical, right? Like,
Oh, interesting.
Do we choose a hunting strategy as a group or as individuals? Or sure.
I'm going to ask Rich because I haven't asked Rich for anything. Which hunting strategy were you going to propose?
If I remember, that's narrative, right? I don't remember there being. Yeah,
Mhm.
I imagine that Issa loves the idea of no. I'll be the helpless one. I'll be the helpless one, and I'll draw it out.
So you'll be the calling, the instinto. You use your Nahual to attack the angels with illusionary images and sound, right? Like,
Or is it baiting?
oh, baiting.
Yeah, baiting.
Yeah, baiting.
Yeah,
sorry,
baiting. She's
barrier.
baiting.
Yeah,
She
perfect.
wants to be
Barrier,
the
baiting. In the barrier, you're using barrier tactic. Like, yeah.
So the
Cool.
angels are surrounded and they can't escape without creating an opportunity first. Well, you risk the angels get a shot at you before your pack can react. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, we know the setup as you're going through the Issa, standing near
perfectly still. Perfectly still.
Under
praying.
that one street light in the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Praying outside of maybe like a semi-derelict church or something that some people believe is like a saint shrine or something, right? Like in the air, like the camera's pulling back, and then that's when you see like the feathers dropping down, and then something heavy landing on, like lots of them rowing up around the edges of the buildings, right? Where you are, and that's when you pull out your mask, right, from your.
Yes.
No, you're not the one who has the bindle. It's you pull out your mask from
Mhm.
the basket that you were praying over or whatever, right?
Sure. Very fashionable basket.
Yeah.
It was like hand woven in Peru.
Artisan
Yeah.
basket, yeah. So
Here we
Jason,
go.
you are leading the pack.
I'm going to
So
roll.
you roll.
+2 is what we established. Okay.
Mhm.
Here we go. That's another 8.
Cool. On a hit, the hunt is fruitful. You kill 1 angel for each member of your pack who joined the hunt. Mark scarcity. So this, now you're down to, I think, like maybe 2 more good hunts in here. But we pick 3 of the results here. So
Well, I did the roll. Why don't you guys do the picks?
yeah. So then let's go to Keith for the first pick.
Ooh, those are rough.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to start off with it, because it'll start off you guys with like some consequences to carry over into the next session.
So I saw in the Tabla that you take a -1 if it's fewer than 3 angels. So taking 2 fewer angels, I don't know. I don't know which one's the worst of the worst. But what was our risk?
The angels get a shot at you before the pack can react.
So yeah, let's say it was a vicious fight and you get hurt during the hunt.
Okay, so 5 heavy wounds divided among the pack.
I'll take 2 of those. You guys can spread out the others.
Okay.
Or does that kill me, or let's see how that?
Wait, hold on. Am I dead?
Yeah.
I think that you can take 2 heavy wounds.
How many do you get?
You can take exactly 2 heavy ones.
Yeah.
Does that do anything?
If you take another heavy wound, it's a deadly wound.
I see. Okay.
Yes. It does roll up, so you can take a couple of low harm, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Once your low
Yeah,
harm
gotcha.
fills, then it becomes a heavy, and when the heavy fills, it becomes a deadly. Is that how that works?
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And
Okay. When heavy deadly fills, you're dead.
and heavy harm is like significant harm in the sense of like, you know, getting shot or stabbed or anything like that. You know, it generally takes heavy harm to even hurt like anything that this game defines as an enemy, you know, because it's a bit more risk against you. You know, like low would just be like the angel just doesn't even feel it kind of thing. I think. But in any case, so with that, it's a tense fight, right? So what about Patrick? Would you like to choose one?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about being in and among people, so I think it makes sense that we cause collateral damage.
Ooh.
Oh man, have you played with Willis the GM? Come on.
Mm. Collateral damage. I mean, yeah, I guess I will tell you the consequences, right? So I'm going to hold on to that for when I come back to you guys to describe like a scene of your character in the thing, right? And I'll tell you what the collateral damage is based upon how you guys are dealing with it.
Okay.
So that leaves one more. Rich, what would you like to choose as the
Oh, the hunt is hard. Mark 4 conditions divided among the pack. I will definitely take 1. I'll take 2 if anyone else is skittish.
which one are you going to take, Rich?
Think I think that it just didn't go as well. She got hurt. I think at one point, and I know anxious, no, frustrated. She's frustrated.
Frustrated. Well, I tell you what, we've chosen them all. Why don't I ask around? Why don't we go to those scenes now? You know, about like describing how the hunt went, right? And you can tell them that can be part of marking the condition, can be you saying how like this scene leaves you in that condition, right? And then we can deal with whatever loose one is hanging over at the end of it all. Like, does that make sense? Because I quite like the idea of let's see why Issa's so frustrated with this, right? As we cut to the scene of Issa during the hunt, that bait in the headlights, the angels
Yes,
swarming quickly around, like, you know, that flurry as you pull up the mask, and then suddenly like the lights blocked out by the number of angels that are coming down.
and in her head, her beautiful, stylish blade. I think it's like a katana. It's really, really nice, but it's not nearly as effective against angels as she thought. So everything in her head was this beautiful action piece where she was the star and everybody would be wowed, especially Salvador. But it turns out, no, she ends up getting knocked down. She gets frustrated because nothing went. It was ugly. It was a hard fight. She got hurt. There was a lot of laughter at one point. Stuff got broken. It
Is
was
the
a
katana
mess.
a maul katana then? Does it like snap, like almost?
Well, I think it's a one shot. Yes, it was a maul katana. I thought it was incredibly expensive. That's what he said when he gave it to me as a present, which means he was lying.
Yeah,
And that's
'cause
frustrating.
I'm not seeing katana in your gear and stuff, right? So
Actually, if you look in the gear, you are a top-notch, stylish blade. But that's fine. It's broken.
oh, okay, yeah.
Turns
You
out
can
it
have
wasn't quite as top-notch or stylish.
You can have a different one. I'm not going to take that away from you entirely. Just this one was a shitty one, right? Like, cool. And then Keith.
Can I go after Salvador?
Yeah, sure.
I think that
Salvador.
may
Yeah, I'm ready.
color my reaction.
So I think the angels come down, they take the bait. Salvador comes out of the darkness and starts, wading in, fighting these things. And we see him at the end. He's all drenched in blood. Half of it is his, half of it's angel blood, dragging these bodies or whatever. And we haven't established what the collateral damage is, but whatever it was that he had to do that led to this collateral damage has left him haunted.
I think that you are you wrestled one of these angels off, and these angels are like, they are like slightly too tall, like skinny, kind of like they have like their eyes are like blank spaces, that glow through, but like the more you stare, you more you realize there's nothing back there, and they've got these like long, like perfect teeth and mouth, but like you can see that there's like a hunger in them, like heroin chic almost style angels. But they're really strong, and you like tear one of them off, Issa. But that's when another one like jumps on you and plows you straight, like stumbling down like an alleyway, and you roll down the stairs and you crash through a door, right? And you just, it's like covered in blood. You butcher this angel, like right in front of like a family of people who are like, woman starts screaming at you in Spanish, but she's like got a crutch and she's trying to knock you out there, and the children are just hiding under the bed. And like as the angels like you hold the axe up to like shut the fuck up to them, right? And they're all terrified of you, right? So like that's the collateral damage, is that you've scared your neighbors, kind of.
Perfect. Right.
Um,
I already
if
have
you
a
said,
-1 in Barrio, so I imagine my reputation is also pretty horrible in the Barrio as
oh
it is,
yeah,
so it's just
yeah.
even worse. Yeah.
I mean, if you'd said that you pull out your gun and you start shooting, the collateral damage then was going to be very bad, right?
Sure.
But and is that why you? Yes, you've marked your haunted.
Mhm.
So Keith, first dibs, or you can wait until after Patrick.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I just wanted
Okay.
to see where Salvador was going, because I feel like our setup is, Salvador does most of the work in this part, right? Like we set it up for him to knock it down. And I think Marichue has like a small part in getting one of the angels. Like it's mostly weakening or like hassling them and slowing them down and kind of things like that, maybe traps and things like that. And we had set up this ambush perfectly and seeing like, yes, my thing went good. Okay, we got this, we got that. And then like, I'm actually pretty okay, but I feel like Salvador is sort of the godfather protector of us, and seeing him struggle makes me go, oh, mierda, this could be bad news for all of us. If like Salvador's having trouble, I'm definitely afraid for our little pack here.
Mm. As like you're being harried by the angels as well, right? Because you're also picking up harms as you go, right? Each of you is taking a heavy harm from this whole battle, but Salvador's taken 2, right? From this. Yeah, nice. And then finally Simone.
So I think Simone is like watching from the shadows as Issa's there being the bait and calling the angels in, and when they descend on her, and when like Salvador jumps in, he slips out from the shadows and lights a candle here on sort of the street, and it's like this big sort of lumpy wax candle that, as the light starts to shine through it, has like weird organic shapes sort of suspended in it, and the wick lights with this like sparking, sputtering, like there's something wet there mixed in with it, and starts putting off this like pinkish red mist fog starts pouring out of it, as an idea to like keep them lured in and to sort of like to try and block off what people are seeing.
I'm imagining that like as the smoke fills the air, right, one of the angels that tries to flee like the hunting area, like its wings become like heavy, like won't gain traction in that smoky air anymore, and it like
Yeah.
spirals down in the sort of column of smoke, right, like crashing to the ground, while others scrabble up the walls, like, because I'm imagining you guys like hit a whole bunch of them, right? It's like like a herd of deer, that some of them are like attacking you and others are just trying to get the hell away from like your angel hunters, right? Like, and they're mostly cowards, kind of thing.
But yeah, I think there's some weird mixture between like the trip of taking the hearts of the earth and the weird supernatural bits that are in this candle, and there's like really disturbing flashes of sight and sound through the mist that get sort of confusing, especially for Simone, because I went with Shaken, and I think he is hearing the like really upsetting cries and calls of those baby proto angels in the creche. Like he's hearing them again. They're just right next to him, and he's like completely
forming
freaked
out
out
of the
by it.
smoke around you, right? Like wisps going past, kind of like
Yeah.
of little cupids, like horrific looking cupids going past. Sweet. Okay, that means there's one extra condition. Rich, I do believe you volunteered for the condition, right?
It's true.
Oh no,
If
wait,
there's
it's
one
four
extra-
conditions, isn't there?
It was
Four
four,
conditions.
not
Oh yeah,
5.
so that's fine.
Yeah, 5 damage, 4 conditions.
4 conditions. So no, actually there isn't an extra condition. My bad.
It's okay.
Cool.
Is there a spot to record the angels that we got?
So we do that in the. I don't believe there is. So you get 3 angels.
Or it was one per person, right?
Yeah,
4?
3 angels.
Four. I think it's 4, right? There's 4,
Yeah,
one
4
per
angels.
person
Yeah,
on the
one per
hunt. Yeah.
first. Yeah, 4 angels. Yeah. And then you immediately go to butchering them. I think you don't
Okay.
like stockpile them, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I guess like bodies dumped onto the back of. Does anyone have a vehicle like a
We all have some sort of vehicle.
Not one that can carry dead angels. Not
no
really.
no one have a car or like a truck?
I
Or...
think I have a really shitty, more rust than metal truck that we throw them in the back of, like a Toyota, like one of those
Nice.
small Toyota pickup trucks. So yeah, I would throw it back there. There's a lot of dried blood probably already sort of in the bed, so.
yeah, a really really bad rackety old thing, right? That
Yep.
like chugs down the street with like 3 forms inside of a blanket, right, on the back of it, going through the barrio at night, right, as people look out, and those the camera goes away and you can just hear that woman's sobs coming up the stairs, right, like clutching her children, and like the few feathers and blood that I have a feeling that like most of the supernatural, like I think during the combat and things, like your presence and when they're manifesting in the physical world makes it so that like other people can see the angels, but like the aftermath probably like fades away, like all kind of magical stuff. So all that looks like here is like some sort of fight went down, as opposed to angel bodies just lying out in the street. And yeah, so let's go to the butchering. I almost think that the monkey makes the most sense to be leading the role on the butchery, because you're very precise, aren't you, and very neat and very complex. You have a workshop after all, and isn't this just another type of workshop? So when we get back to the butcher's shop, everyone wounded, Salvador like pretty messed up, but with 4 angels in tow, and each of you haunted, shaken, frustrated, and afraid, right, of what this means for you and your life going forwards. Does everyone help with the butchery? Because you got to butcher angels fast, right? That's one of the twists. So Salvador's
Oh,
in.
really?
Putting on a
Yeah.
big apron, in the back, putting him up on hooks, draining the blood or whatever into a bucket.
Pulls off his bloody shirt, right? Like pulling away the sticky material, looks down, and then just like pulls a bloody apron off the wall, like immediately putting it on. Like,
I'm picturing the actual butcher area is probably pretty pristine, stainless
yeah.
steel, I imagine. But yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to contaminate this angel meat and blood, especially.
True. Yeah, she can taste it, right? So
Yeah, I think,
Salvador's helping out. Simone.
Yeah, Simone is there. He has one of the tools stolen from heaven. I think it's this like glass butchering blade that's so thin it's almost hard to see edge on.
It looks like you're just holding the handle and you twist it slightly. And it's just a
Yep.
yeah. And how about Issa? Are you helping out, Issa?
Of course I'm helping out. This is always interesting.
And
So I think she kind of strips down to underwear that she'll throw away because it's going to be gross.
nice. Everyone's pulling on their things and like in their work clothes, and you just tear off your entire thing, and it's just like underwear and the apron, basically.
I am distracted.
Yeah.
Because someone understands how to make good television.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
All of you are putting on more clothes.
So Mary's helping as well, I think.
Yeah, it's her least favorite thing. I mean, because one, it's gross as hell, and two, you can't lollygag because it has to get done, right? Like there are
Is it like the
consequences.
door to the butcher's, like, like gets hauled shut, right? And then just as the camera cuts out and we see that Mary's like, leaning against the thing, like just going like, the door slides right open and Issa just reaches in and pulls one hand around him and like
I mean,
drags
I
him back
think
in.
at this point she knows it's got to happen, right? Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
not, maybe that happened the first time, like, yeah,
Mm.
you can't get away with it, but now it's, hold my nose, grit my teeth.
Got your
Here we
teeth.
go. I'm gonna try. And she's probably tried the weaponized incompetence thing where it's like, I'm not doing a good job. Maybe they'll tell me to go away. And like, no, this is your livelihood. Like, you can't cut corners here.
Nice. Okay. So with that in mind, that's a +2 because everyone is helping. All the butchers have only one or fewer conditions marked. The hunt yielded more than 3 angels, and you're not pressured to meet a deadline, I don't think. So that is a +2. So if you'd like to roll that,
All
Patrick.
Cut, monkey, cut.
That's not helping.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but that's a 10.
Wow.
Maybe it
a
was
10.
helping.
Yeah.
Just
So
your dear girl.
we clear the restock track. The work wasn't unsettling.
I mean,
Yeah.
Wasn't especially disturbing.
Yeah, maybe there's something to the fact that these angels like took a chunk out of you as well, right? So like, while normally it's completely unpleasant work, in some level it's like, yeah, fuck you fucking bitch. Like,
yeah, and I think
um,
I think for Simone, he starts like shaking off that, like the cries of the weird baby angels as he gets them open and starts seeing the weird bits and components and organs that we're running out of. That he's got all these ideas of what he can do with them.
So we clear so you don't want restock full then. Okay,
yeah, so
it's the opposite of what's intuitive.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I was operating under you need to fill up your restock track with butchery, but no,
Yeah.
it's you need to clear refill your stock by clearing your restock.
So it's like I need to restock, and when it's all the way full, you're in trouble.
Exactly. Yeah. But cool. Well, we've got. So, yeah, you clear all of it up. You've got all of your angel meat freshly prepared. The freezers are fully stocked, ready for the next batches. But of course, well, there's some trouble coming up, isn't there, on the horizon, right? I think the camera pans away, right, just as we see maybe I'm thinking maybe Salvador, right, like wiping down that counter at the very end. Everybody else has gone home. The freezers are fully stocked. Like he's been, we're saying wave goodbye to people, and as he like end of the night, tinny music playing on the radio, stretches, hangs up his thing, washes his palms, and locks the door behind him, and then walks off whistling down through the marketplace, and then just a silhouette steps into the light, like staring, like no, their shadow is portrayed across the mural, like of the peaceable kingdom outside in that one flickering light, and we cut for whatever the trouble is next time, and we'll do some stars and wishes, because I don't believe this game has got an end of session move. Does anyone?
Not that I
Cool.
recall.
Cool. Well, thanks guys. Wave goodbye to the internet.
Stop the